Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, a Carnival cruise ship has arrived at a brand new exciting home port for the season. We also have a cruise passenger denied boarding because of their wheelchair, and the cruise line says, it's all your own fault. Also, we have Australia with the light of everything starting to say, hey, we're slowing down in Australia for cruising and we're sending ships other places. Well, they're not having any of it, and they're investing millions of dollars in Western Australia to get the cruise lines all back. And then finally, I want to share a really nice story about Fred Olsen Cruise Line stepping up and helping to protect search and rescue. That's right. They're actually helping support search and rescue. The Carnival Liberty has finally arrived in its new home port, New Orleans, an exciting town to be leaving from and arriving back to. Absolutely a great place to visit. It's one of those key destination home ports that a lot of people really like to spend an extra few days in as well. So the ship is going to be arriving, doing sailing, should I say, 7-day sailings, starting every Sunday, leaving from New Orleans, and it's going to go to places like Cozumel, Costa Maya, Belize, Montego Bay, Grand Cayman, Jamaica, Mahogany Bay, Freeport, a whole bunch of different destinations. And no, it's not all in the same 7 days. They have 3 different itineraries running from that. So you get to choose, you want to do Eastern, Western, Southern, what kind of cruise do you want to do? But yep, Carnival Liberty, built in 2005, has a new home port in New Orleans. Very exciting city to leave on your cruise from. And recently we've covered a lot of stories in the news about cruise ships, like Princess having less cruise ships in Australia in the upcoming season, as well as Cunard not going there. We also have Virgin Cruise Line not going there anymore. It just seems like cruise lines are pulling out for various reasons. A lot of it is the interruption with the Red Sea and things like that. Getting their cruises, ships to the actual destination is very expensive, as they have to go the long way around a lot of times. And they've decided, you know what, there's other popular places out there that it's cheaper for us to send our cruises there that people still want to go to. However, Western Australia government, the Cook Labor government, has announced a multi-million-dollar investment and their strategic plan from 2023 to 33. And they really want to bring in more cruises. They're looking to add infrastructure, things for them to do. They want to deal with their industry partners and make it much more attractive for them to start coming in. Some of that may be supplements, like in the cost that's been rising in Australia for cruise ships for restocking their food supplies, fuel, etc. There's been taxes thrown on, there's been port fees thrown on, and a lot of the cruise lines are just saying, it's just getting too expensive for us to run. Our profit margins are going down, and they decided we'll have to go someplace else. So that's good news if you're an Australian cruiser, that they want to work with the cruise lines and start enticing them all back. And I think one of the places they really want cruise ships to start going is Fremantle, and so have another destination in Australia that people can start enjoying and sailing from. Let's hope it works, because I loved my cruise through Australia and New Zealand. Didn't have the best weather. We ran into a typhoon, but I still had an amazing time. Love the city of Sydney and would love to be going back ASAP. Fred Olsen Cruise Line has stepped up in a big way in the UK, and they are going to help out, shall we say. They showed up at a auction / charity event for the East Anglian Air Ambulance. Now what this is it's called the EAAA, and what they do is they're basically a rescue air ambulance team who will do land trips, air, sea rescues, etc. Wherever the need may be, at the drop of a hat if something happens. And of course, cruise lines are very grateful to all the Coast Guard and air ambulance service who often fly out and rescue passengers and man overboard, etc. Not to mention airlift people to evacuation to hospital. Well, this particular agency is basically self-funded. They don't receive any government funds. So they have to raise their money by donations. And so Fred Olsen Cruise Line showed up and they donated £30,000, roughly half the money that this charity would have earned in the entire evening. So they stepped up in a big way, and I'm glad to hear that. I didn't know there were air ambulances out there that were basically privately funded. And wow, I think more cruise lines should look at stuff like this, and maybe some of their donations and charity events and charity work should definitely go to those people, because they're the people we call whenever we're in trouble out at sea. Next, I have a story about a passenger who was denied boarding because of their wheelchair. But before I get there, let me just invite you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you want to keep up to date with everything going on in cruising, from those cruise ships that break down to itinerary changes to new laws that are coming into effect, to some of the best destinations that you might want to try out for your next cruise, I'll try and make your cruise just a little bit easier, maybe a little bit safer, maybe a little bit cheaper, and definitely less frustrating as you learn how to navigate the cruise industry, because not all cruises are exactly the same. I hope you'll join us here. It really does help the channel out when you subscribe, hit that like button, and even when you leave comments, and I really do appreciate it. Okay, P&O Cruises, a gentleman named Mr. Ashton showed up to board a P&O Cruise Line cruise with his family, only to be told, you didn't fill out the accessible questionnaire, the onboard needs questionnaire on the P&O Cruises portal, which needs to be filled out before you arrive at the cruise terminal. He says, I didn't receive an email saying I needed to fill anything out. I booked an accessible cabin because I'm in a wheelchair and a scooter. And they said, no, you have to fill out that form because it's a safety policy. They need to know exactly who and where people with mobility issues or extra care are stationed in case there's a medical emergency or like a shipboard emergency, that they need to have the crew members available to be able to go to that person and assist them in an emergency. For instance, if the ship catches fire and they need to evacuate the ship, crew members are heading to those places where people are in scooters or have a hard time walking or medical conditions, and they will help escort them to the lifeboats. This is one of the reasons that you have to fill out those questionnaires. It's not because they want to know how many scooters are on board. They could really care less about that. It's more of a safety precaution in the event something happens. Well, he didn't fill out this form, and he says, well, I didn't receive it. Now, P&O says, well, the form is on our P&O online portal. It's right on the front page. It's very easy to see, and it says it right there that you have to fill this out before getting to your ship. They do not email out that form. Many other cruise lines do. I know Princess Cruise Lines will send out that form if they're. I've never heard of Princess turning somebody away neither at the cruise terminal, but P&O may have less staff assigned to this particular thing. But I went to the P&O page, and because they operate differently, you have to call in. You can't book online a lot of places. It didn't say anything. It didn't say anything on the front page. Now, if I made a booking and I go into my bookings on that page, it may be there. But I wasn't about to give a big deposit just to check this out. But either way, just because something's on the online portal doesn't mean somebody saw it and read it and knew what it is. A lot of people are not very tech savvy. A lot of people are not going online all the time. Many people just book their cruise and then they go and they start shopping for their shore excursions and their drink packages, and they pay very little attention to all the other details that are on that homepage. So many people do it. I will send out a very detailed letter about a cruise and everything to somebody stating, okay, if you want to book this cruise, you need this, 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 and this. And I send it out to the person and I get a response with all that stuff below saying, okay, what do I need to send you? It's in the same email that I sent out. Not everyone is tech savvy. So when I found out that P&O doesn't actually send out that form to people, I kind of call that a little bit of a red flag. But again, everything is on us. We're supposed to do our own research. However, I don't travel with a scooter. I'm not, I'll book people with scooters. I'll send out that form if need be, but I'm not really up to date on the handicap situation and the accessible cabins and every cruise line's different regulations. And so when they say it's clearly there, it might be clearly there to them who put it there, but it might not be clearly there to passengers. Just saying. Well, let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think, hey, they should be sending that out to the client if they need this film, if it can actually deny you boarding? You can't fill out that form at the cruise terminal. You have to have it filled out ahead of time. I think they should be sending out those emails. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.